Hi everyone, welcome to the course, and today we will be starting with the very new module which is CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. Now why it is known as Cascading Style Sheet? You might have seen a water falling from cascade, that is from top to down. So similarly, CSS follows an approach where there is inheritance and specificity and priority comes from top to down. Okay, so first of all, why do we need CSS? It's very important because whenever we create a structure or a layout, it is only black and white. But to add more colors, interactivity, it will look good to the eyes, so that will be very good for the user, so that we can differentiate things, right? So that is why we use CSS. And now in CSS we have three types of CSS depending upon the requirements we use them. So let's start how we can do that. So before that, I've already created a file, and now inside this I will have my one HTML file, which is, let's suppose, intro.html. okay, so you know that we need a structure, then only we can perform something. So now let's give it a heading CSS, and here I am going to write h1, which will say CSS fields adds more fun to websites. Okay, and now click on live server and open it with that. Okay, fine. Now first one is I want to have a inline statement. So inline CSS means that I have to write a CSS inside any tag. So if I want to use inline CSS, I will just comment it out, inline CSS. Okay, so in this I have to write a attribute of style, and after that, let's suppose I want to put a color. Let's suppose it's purple. So what will happen is, to this h1 I will have a color. This color property I will explain you, don't worry, it is just going to add color to the text. Okay, so when you will go here, see, CSS adds more fun to websites, right? So this color is changed now, but think that I have used h1 where the styling is added, right? So now let's start from the very next line where I am going to add one h1. So see over here, so let's add some more h1 to it. Hi, this seems to be very interesting. Just ignore the spellings, just look at it. See, I've applied to this particular element, but now this is not as purple because inline CSS is only applied to the element in which I have specified the CSS property. So this h1 is not containing any style attribute or not containing any kind of design, right? So this is how my inline is. But inline CSS is a refer where we have small lines of code. For example, let's suppose even if I have 50 lines of code, then I can go with my inline CSS. But if I have more than 50 lines of code, it would be very difficult for me to use inline CSS. Okay, so if you want to add here, again you will have to style attribute, and let's suppose you want to increase the font size. So I want it to be 30 pixel. So the size will decrease to 30 pixel because h1 already contains a bigger size. So if you'll say 50%, see, it is going to be. So that's how you can apply any CSS to it. Now let's suppose I don't want to give inline style. Okay, I want to use internal CSS now. How we can use internal CSS? First of all, think whenever you have a one page application, you can always go with your inline CSS, internal CSS. Okay, internal CSS, how we can do that? Let's see. So I am just removing this one and I'll use a paragraph of lorem ipsum here, and let's go to view word wrap, and again I want to go with here lorem ipsum. Great, I have two paragraphs now, but I want to apply styling to all these things. So how I will do that? So select your first of all, you need to use your style tag when you are using internal, and internal CSS is generally written inside your head. Okay, so you have to select an element, which is the element selector. Whenever you select an element, is known as an element selector. So inside P, you can add any CSS property. Let's suppose I am giving background color of bisque. Okay, so this will have a background color, but can you just see that both the elements are having this kind of CSS, which is my background color bisque. If I want to add it to H1 also, the same background color, I can go with it. See, now it is also there. So this is your internal CSS where you want to apply changes to only one element, and it will be applied to all the elements present in the document. Let's suppose you selected div. So all the divs will contain that type of CSS, whatever you might have written in that particular div. So I hope this is more understandable to you. So now let's check that after internal CSS, we have external CSS, but let's suppose I have a div, and in that also I want to go with paragraph of lorem ipsum. H1 CSS is great to add more styles. Okay, so see, you have this particular thing. Now why it is being applied to all of these? Because you selected H1 also and paragraph also. So it would be great if you remove H1 from here, as I don't want that. So you can go with style over here, and you will write color aquarium. So you will see that the color is aquarium, which is very bright. So let's go and put some darker color that will not see this is there. And now, or do one thing, just add a background color instead of all these things. And choose some darker colors, that's fine. So now see, this color is now changing. So why this color changed? But I have already specified my paragraph to background color bisque. So why this change? Because I told you my CSS flows from top to down. So bottom one will be the higher priority. So that is why your this particular paragraph background color is changed, because the priority is given to this particular container. Okay, so that's why it's working. Now from internal and inline CSS, you know the priority is always given to inline CSS, because internal CSS will always written inside your head. So now let's come to your external CSS. For external CSS, you need to create different file of CSS. Now by convention, we call it styles.css. It's totally up to you. .css is the extension. It's totally up to you. Whatever you want to use it, you can rename to it. Okay. Now, let's suppose that I want to add some colors to here, which is H2. I want to, yeah, great. So let's add some external CSS, right? So yeah, you have one more heading over here, which is H2, but to this you want to apply some styling. So now H2, select your H2 in this file as you write internal CSS, but the internal CSS is there inside your one document only, which is the HTML one. But to this CSS you can add your H2. Now let's suppose I want to give it a background color of violet. I'm going to take it some light color, right? And I want to add some color. Let it be, color should be like same only, but I want to add some padding 20 pixel, right? So you will see nothing is working over here, because in external CSS it's very important for you to add a file. So how you will add a file? Go to your HTML file, and to this use something called link. So in link you will get a relation rel is equals to style sheet, which is used to refer to or tell the browser that the relation between this link and the file is of style sheet. Now in href you need to put your style.css. Done. So your href is done. Now let's see that whether it is working. See, it's working great because you link the file. Now this file is attached to it. So all the properties of h2 will be working fine over here. But see over here, I am going to select this h2 and want to give it a background color of purple. Okay. Now see, the background color from light purple to purple is changed, because between external and internal, your internal is inside HTML, because external was on the top, then internal was there. So priority was your internal CSS, that is why it is this. But let's suppose I added the same property, style property, to this also. I went with this color, cardiac blue, and see, this is not working. Yeah, so this color is working. So that means between your external, internal and inline, the first priority will always be inline, then internal, then external. Okay, so remember that whenever you are using these type of CSS. Now let's come to your one more property, which is the color property. Okay. So to this color property, I really want to remove all these things. Okay. So just I want to comment this out. This one also. I want to remove this also. Let's go with this thing. Okay. But I want to take this style, this color, and paste it. Now the color property is just to add coloring to your. Let's add some padding. Color is just normally to add a text color, and also color will have different kind of values. What kind of values that I am going to tell? Simply you can use by normally name red, pink, orange, hot pink, green, purple, aquarium, bisque, aquamarine. See, so these are your name specified colors. But if you want to have color with the hex name, with the hex code, so you can also go with it. Let's suppose you went with hot pink, right? So this color will be changed. See, this is changed. But let's suppose you want to have a hex value. Okay, so for that we have our extension called Color Hunt, provided by Google Chrome. So you can open it, and when you will open it, you will find that there are n number of colors. So this is a whole color palette, and you can choose any one. So let's suppose I want to go with this color. So you will copy the code and you will paste it over here. Now put hash. It's very important because it's a hex code. You have to add your hash before that, then only your color will work, otherwise your color will not work. See, come back, see, it's normal black, but now put a hash, your color is changed. So there is this particular thing which is the hex value. Okay, now let's come to third type of way where you can add your color. So okay, let it be. I want to go to this, I want to go to this, let's select this color. Okay, but I want to add RGB. Okay, so RGB means red, green, blue. Red, green, blue are your primary colors, and the fourth color is always the combination of these three colors. Okay, so now let's see how you will add a property. So this is out of 225, so values are going to vary, so you can specify anything. Suppose 15, 200 and 160. Okay, so see, your color is this one when I write the RGB, but let's change it because that is too bright for our eyes. Now it's fine. Okay, but there is something called RGBA. So basically it is for adding the transparency to the color. Let's suppose I added 0.5. So that means I want to add 0.5 transparency. 0.5 means 50% it will be opaque and 50% is going to be your transparent. So I hope you have understood this particular thing, that what is CSS, how many types of CSS, how the priorities are given, and what are colors. Okay, so thank you so much everyone. Let's see you in your next lecture. Thank you.